complain about the high cost of electricity. Well, folks, let me tell you something. You ain't seen nothing yet, really. And why do I say that? Historically, you know, we've had like inflation increases maybe 2 or 3% a year. But now, markets all over the United States are experiencing 10, 15% increases. Why is that? Well, the biggest culprit, and it's just starting, is AI. Artificial intelligence, these hyperscale facilities, data centers, which Meta, Amazon, Google, Apple are trying to build left and right to really handle this infant industry that's going to be changing the world as we know it. So you've got AI, you've got the greater adoption of electric vehicles, eventually, and even despite the current policies in Washington, D.C. today, electric vehicles are going to be an irreversible macro trend because they work, and they're less expensive than you know, running internal combustion engines. And internal combustion engines use oil, and that pollutes, and that creates climate change. And you know, you folks have children and grandchildren. You know, we want to be able to figure out how we can mitigate climate change, and because the impacts of it we're already seeing. I mean, where I'm from in Massachusetts, it's a low-lying coastal community, much like California. So there are places like Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard and the coastal Cape Cod, where the water, the beaches are eroding, and no matter how many billionaires you have in Nantucket, and even King Herodotus couldn't stop the water from rising, you actually have houses that are falling into the water.
Yes.
So, and I don't know if this is happening out in certain regions in California. Okay, it is. That means all of us here, you need product to sell. You don't want it all to be underwater, right? I mean, so, you know, the things that we need to do, obviously, as a society, and look, you know, people understand that climate change is real, and the way that we start mitigating it, we transition to renewable energy. And what I've tried to do my whole career is to try to figure out how can we produce electricity in a more environmentally friendly manner, in a more cost-effective manner. And actually, you know, I've been in this business for years, and I started thinking about, you know, clean energy makes a lot of sense, but how can we make it inspirational? How can we make it inspirational so that when you walk your kids into a house like this, and as you'll hear from Mike's tour, all the things that he's done in this property and all the communications around it to let people know, invite people into his house. This isn't the first time, but he's really kind of like a Johnny Appleseed and a pioneer of residential sustainable energy practices. And historically, this is the first house in the world that's actually put a smart flower on the roof of a house. But most in the world, you know, our installations, most of them are on the ground. But he had a flat roof. And as he was researching the market, he wanted to create, you know, the sundae with the whipped cream and the cherry on the top. And we're gonna go up later, and we're gonna, you know, talk about, you know, how that is the cherry on the top. But I don't want to oversell the smart flower. What I want to do is ask you, okay, as realtors, as people that are assisting people on how to position their property, what moves they can make to increase the value of their property, how they can live in their property in a more affordable way over the life of the property. I mean, thank you so much for coming today and really, beginning to immerse yourself in sustainable energy practices. Because as a realtor, okay, I mean, how can you differentiate yourself from the competition? And I know you're in a very competitive business, but being able to help and discuss and educate, homeowners, prospective homeowners on that thing, you're creating value for that person, and people remember that and they appreciate that. So I don't want to talk too much because I think the tour is really fascinating. So I'll just end it by saying that I know today will leave an impression on you, and I hope that you can talk to your colleagues and your customers and join the fight to create a better energy and environmental future. Thank you.